Boxing is a funny sport, huh? What's up, everyone? How's everybody doing? Have any of you caught on to the fact that Gennady Golovkin has already beaten Bernard Hopkins's middleweight title defense record? Yep. Fact. Why? Because Nard had 19 title defenses and Golovkin has had 20 so far. Check it out. So, back in, when was it? 94. Nard traveled to Quito, Ecuador to fight Segundo Mercado for the vacant IBF middleweight title. Had a draw. And then brought him to the States, where he finally was able to beat him by 7th round TKO, winning the vacant International Boxing Federation middleweight title, right? And from then on, he went to defended, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Simon Brown was his 7th title defense. Robert Allen was a no contest, so that doesn't count. The second time was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And in his 20th title defense, he lost it to Jermaine Taylor. He fought fucking Robert Allen 3 times. Antoine Eccles twice. Did he? Wait a minute. Antoine, yeah. Fought him twice. Twice. That's like Golovkin fighting what was his face? I already forgot his name. His IBF Mando. That's like Golovkin fighting that guy twice, right? Jesus Christ. He couldn't get away with fighting him once even. But anyway, count him. Count him if you don't believe me. He wins it against Mercado, right? And then Steve Frank is 1, Joe Lipsy 2, Bo James 3, JDJ 4, Johnson 5, Council 6, Brown 7, Allen 8, Eccles 9, Vanderpool 10, Eccles 11, Holmes 12, Trinidad 13, Daniels 14, Hakar 15, right? Jappi 16, Allen again 17, Hoya 18, Eastman 19. 20th title defense, he loses, right? No contest means it doesn't count. It's as if the fight never happened, right? It's not a legitimate title defense, right? It doesn't go on his record at all. Right? There are no contests up here. It doesn't affect his KO percentage. It doesn't affect anything. It's as if it never happened. So technically, Bernard Hopkins had quote unquote only 19 title defenses. Golovkin had 20. Let's check out Golovkin. Make sure I'm not make sure we got this correct, right? Gennady Golovkin. So Gennady Golovkin wins, or did win, the WBA World Middleweight title in 2010 against Milton Nunez, right? And then he defended it against Tapia, that's 1. Uma 2. Simon 3. Fuchigami 4. Proxa 5. Rosado 6. Ishida 7. Macklin 8. Stevens 9. Adama 10. Gil 11, Rubio 12, Murray 13, Monroe Jr. 14, Lemieux 15, Wade, that's the guy I was thinking of, 16, Brooks 17, Jacobs 18, Alvarez 19, Martirosyan 20. 20 title defenses. So he already beat Bernard Hopkins' record, right? Let's count again just to be sure. Tapia, Uma, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 title defenses. Mission accomplished. Bernard Hopkins' record beaten. Now, the criticism of Golovkin's reign that I heard here and there is the fact that he won the regular WBA title, right? Okay, fair enough. What does that mean? Him winning the regular title. Well, that means he did not beat the champion, who at the time was Felix Sturm, I believe, right? He didn't beat the super champion, the man in the WBA. So that's the criticism. But Bernard Hopkins didn't beat the man either, right? He won the vacant IBF title. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, right? Roy Jones Jr., who already beat Bernard Hopkins, who Bernard Hopkins couldn't beat when he fought him. He vacated that title as he moved up to 168 super middleweight. And Bernard Hopkins fought for the vacant title against Segundo Mercado, right? And you did 2 tries to win it. So it's the same thing. Neither guy beat the champion. It wasn't a champion, but the champion in the respective sanctioning body, right? Neither guy did it. And again, Bernard Hopkins wasn't good enough to beat the champion, right? He wasn't. He lost. He was only able to win that title after Roy Jones Jr. moved out of the division, right? So it's the exact same thing. It's just a different name of the title. Vacant, regular. Oh, this shit's hilarious. But here's the difference. Here's the difference between Gennady Golovkin and Bernard Hopkins as they compare to the so-called champion within their each respective sanctioning body, right? While Golovkin was winning and defending his regular title, Felix Sturm had the full title and was ducking Golovkin. Didn't want to fight Golovkin, right? Why? Well, because he couldn't beat Golovkin. And we all know this because when we look at Felix Sturm's record, we'll see some of the same names that Golovkin fought, right? Felix Sturm had a draw with Martin Murray. Golovkin destroyed Martin Murray, right? He lost to Daniel Gill. Golovkin destroyed Daniel Gill, right? There was another name. Felix Sturm beat Sebastian Sylvester very convincingly, right? Easy victory. But Triple G destroyed Proxa, who destroyed Sylvester, right? And there was another, at least one more. Oh, Matthew Macklin. Sturm got a controversial split decision over Matthew Macklin. Golovkin murdered Matthew Macklin, right? So, even though technically Sturm was the so-called champion in the WBA, he avoided Golovkin like wildfire. And clearly he wasn't as good as Golovkin, right? Which is probably why he avoided him, right? Meanwhile, so Golovkin fought for the, regular title and eventually got promoted. Oh, another thing. Check this out. Another similarity you could or measuring stick, if you will. Felix Sturm had a no contest in a very close, what originally was a very close decision win. No, I'm sorry. He lost. Okay, Solomon tested positive for a PED, but whatever, that's insignificant because Sturm tested positive for PEDs too, so we're not going to worry about that. But anyway, he lost to Sam Solomon twice, and then Solomon lost to Dominic Wade. And we all saw what Golovkin did to Robert Allen, right? So, again, Sturm wasn't on the level of Golovkin, right? Clearly. While the so-called champion, Roy Jones Jr., in the IBF, proved to be better than Bernard Hopkins. Okay? So, it's not really a valid criticism. I mean, it is a valid criticism, but if you're comparing him to Bernard Hopkins, right, it was the same thing. Their title originally was just as legit. Golovkin's title was just as legit as Bernard Hopkins' vacant title because neither guy beat the champion, right? Except, again, Bernard Hopkins wasn't as good as the champion and got spanked by the champion, whereas clearly Golovkin was much better than the champion. So not only did Golovkin already beat Bernard Hopkins' record, it was actually a better title reign than what Bernard Hopkins had. For many reasons, because, he didn't rematch all these bums like Bernard Hopkins did, and because he was the true champion in his division, right? Even though he didn't technically beat the champion, he basically proved that he was better than the champion, right? And even though Bernard Hopkins ended up having all 4 titles, right? Becoming the undisputed champion, we all know Oscar De La Hoya did not beat, what do you know? Felix Sturm. So that, I believe, what was it, the WBA? I forget which one exactly it was. Title that Bernard Hopkins picked up of Oscar De La Hoya was a fraudulent title, right? De La Hoya didn't deserve to have that title, and for Bernard Hopkins to truly cement himself as a credible, undisputed middleweight champion, he should have fought Felix Sturm, okay? But he didn't. So Golovkin's middleweight title reign is superior to Bernard Hopkins's, not only because he fought the better level of opposition and he didn't rematch bums, but also because he was truly the man within the sanctioning body where he first won that title, and has just as many credible titles as Bernard Hopkins did. And I think this Felix Sturm link is very interesting because that would have been, the guy that would have solidified Bernard Hopkins is undisputed as credible. A win over that guy was also the same guy that complicated matters for Golovkin just a little bit. But if we're really being objective and keeping it real, I think we could all agree that Triple G did not need to beat Felix Sturm. to be credible because he more than proved he was the superior fighter by far. Funny how this shit works, huh? Don't believe everything HBO tell you. Golovkin already beat Bernard Hopkins's middleweight defense record, and he has the superior, has had the superior run in the division because, well, he fought better fighters, really. Hope you liked the video. Take it easy.